right. Good afternoon, Chris. How are you today?
Good. How you doing?
Really good. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. I always like to make a point when someone is a personal reference to me because I feel like that is worth its weight in gold, that someone has, thought so highly of yourself and of me to put us together to see if we can assist you with your next career stop. So what I'd like to do now is talk to you a little bit about your experience. We were talking before about some of the type of work that you've done, and I was extremely impressed by your tenure. So why don't we start? Let's start at the bottom and kind of go our go up, if we will. So tell me a little bit about your grocery experience, grocery leadership experience.
Sure. Well, grocery leadership. I've been in the grocery business for 30 years. I started out as a bagger. I moved up to the company where I've been a perishable manager, a front end manager. I've been a produce manager. When I worked for one company, to be under management, you had to jump in and run two perishable departments. So I ran the bakery and I ran produce, and I didn't even know what the bread was when I took over the bakery. And I became a trainer for that company and started moving extensively throughout the company, helping them open new stores. And that was the fresh market. And then I went to work for Earth Fare, which was when I first started a small organic company, started as a produce manager. And the reason I really wanted to go there was I was excited about it because we had to help build the company. They had no planograms, no layouts, anything like that. I had to go in and design my own layout, my own store, and, go from there. And we had to hire from the top to the bottom all at one time. And I started helping open all their new stores. And then we transitioned into, I moved down to Florida. And the president of Earth Fare actually went to work for Winn-Dixie and so when I moved to Florida, he knew I came down here and he saw me and he was like, "Come work for me." So I did. So I stopped and went down to work for Winn-Dixie for about a year. That really wasn't my field. And then Lucky's came on board, and I loved Lucky's. I started off as assistant manager, and then right from the beginning, I became a trainer for them. And within a month of us opening my new location, I started traveling extensively. I went to Montana. I helped open brand new stores all across Florida, Columbia, Missouri. I went to Savannah for over a month. I've done everything they wanted to do. And then I ran my own store up until the final end, where we actually had to close down when Lucky's folded. And that's when I decided to, move into real estate.
All right, great. And so currently you're in real estate. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you do there?
Well, I do a little bit of both. I work with buyers and sellers.
Mhm.
And so luckily, actually, when I moved to Ormond Beach, we knew nobody. I started off from the ground, but it was right at the beginning of COVID. In my first year of real estate, I sold almost $5 million. And that was just because people were moving to Florida in 2020. So crazy. Like, we just had to be down here. So I work with buyers and sellers. I have 2 listings now, and I probably have a list of 1,000 people on my Flex account where they actually get listings every day. There probably is only 25 people who actually look at it on a daily basis that are truly searching for right now.
Okay.
So I've had 2 closings this year so far, but you just never know what the future is going to hold with real estate. You can have a great month and a nothing month. You got to be prepared for that.
And so you're looking for something a little more consistent.
Absolutely.
So the skills that you've learned, of course, from the store operations to real estate, what skills do you think could easily translate into another industry?
Well, again, once you start from the bottom of the grocery business, you have to learn how to order. You have to learn all your margins, all your KPIs. All those things. You have to know what sells, what doesn't sell. You also know how to run each department and what your expectations of their gross margin, their sales, their how many hours they get to use for as far as labor wise. You also have to hire everybody yourself. And again, my department managers hired their own team members, but they all had to go through me. Like, they had to hire everybody, and then they had to come and get approval from me. So I did the final interview with them. So we helped hire, get them on board, training wise, all that goes through me.
So how do you quickly adapt, like, to new systems, new teams, going from, different stores?
Well, we always joked about embracing change. That really is the truth, because in the grocery business and real estate too, but in grocery business, things change, dramatically, especially if you change companies. I worked for certain companies. I worked Food Line for 10 years. I worked at Earth Fair for 9. I worked at Lucky's for about 8 years. So I tried to stay in one place as long as I could, but I always try to make sure I was doing the right thing for myself and progressing.
Sure.
But
Absolutely.
again, you have to learn each company what they do because everybody does it different.
Mhm.
And as you
Chris,
grow as a company, they actually have different trainings that happen. You know, the process has changed even when you grow. So you get used to all that.
absolutely. Chris, can you give me an example of a business decision that you made that directly impacted the growth or profitability? That could be at any one of your past positions.
Sure. Well, the first store that I took over as a store manager, my budget that year was to lose $50,000. So the end of the year, we ended up making $50,000 in profit. Again, that was a huge kudos to a great team I had. You know, so basically that was, we just basically started from the beginning and we got down to basics. We went by book, you know, by the book. Everything was by the book, and it actually helped grow the store. And that's so we increased our sales 30%, but we increased our margin, our profitability quite a bit. So it was a great time.
Okay, well, great. Well, this part of the interview is meant to just be a little clip, a little introduction into who Chris is. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the interview, but don't go anywhere. We got a lot more stuff to talk about. So
Okay.
just a minute.